Good morning dear student. Welcome back to my science class. Today I am going to continue with the same chapter number 4 of your science, soil. Before we start for the lesson, let me recall few things which we have done in last session. In my last session, I have explained you about soil, what is soil, importance of soil, how soil is formed, how many things soil contains. To show this how many things soil contains, we conducted very small experiment. Today I kept it ready for you. Let me show you the jar which I brought last time. I kept it ready for you to show the layers of the soil. At bottom you are seeing these big pebbles. It is not very clear in video, but when you conduct at home, you will find all the layers very nicely. So at the bottom we get bottom layer. This bottom layer is made by gravel. It is called gravel. Above the gravel, second layer is made by sand. Above the sand, third layer of the soil is called clay. It is made by very tiny particles of rock, clay. Above the clay, there is muddy water. On this muddy water, we get some floating objects. These floating objects are remains of dead plants and animals, and these remains of dead plants and animals is called humus. As I told you last time, humus is very good for soil as it makes the soil fertile, and if soil is fertile, it is very good for plants as plant can grow very nicely in fertile soil. That means soil contains different shapes and different sizes stones. It shows when rocks they break down to form the soil, they do not break down into similar pieces of soil. Some pieces of soil are bigger, some pieces of soil are smaller, some are very fine. It means weathering process means breaking down of rocks make different shapes and sizes pieces of soil. So depending upon these pieces, depending upon the sizes of the pieces of rocks, shapes of the pieces of rocks, as well as contains, we can discuss air, water, humus. Depending upon these all contains, we can categorize soil into 3 categories. That means there are 3 kinds of soil. So let me show you all kinds. Let me write here kinds of soil. First is clayey soil. Clayey soil is made by mainly clay particles. These particles are very smooth when we touch. That is why this soil is very smooth to touch as well as sticky too. Since this quality is there in this clay soil is very smooth and sticky, potters they have very good use of this kind of soil. Potters they use this soil to make pots and toys. They can make. It is very good for you also. You get toys made by clay soil. But this soil is not good for plants. Why this soil is not good for plants? Because it is very sticky. It has no spaces in between. Its particles, they stick together. They don't have any air space in between. Since air spaces are not there, it can hold lot amount of water but very less amount of air. So when we grow the plant in clay soil, plants they do not get sufficient amount of air but they get lot amount of water. Even more than sufficient amount of water. Because of these 2 factors, plants they cannot survive in clay soil as they don't get their roots, they don't get air. Now moving towards second category of soil. Second type of soil is sandy soil. As name is showing sandy soil, as name was showing clay soil. As I was telling clay soil, mainly it contains clay particles. Opposite of this, as name is showing sandy soil, mainly sandy soil is made by sand. It contains a large amount of sand and very less amount of clay particles. Since it contains large amount of sand particles, it has not many air spaces in between the particles. Because of lot many air spaces, it holds large amount of air but very little amount of water. Because of these two factors, again I must mention here, plants they cannot survive in sandy soil too. Because in sandy soil, sufficient amount of air or more than sufficient amount of air is there, but very little water plants they get. Because of this little water, plants they cannot survive in sandy soil also. Mostly sandy soil is found at seashore as well as in desert areas. Now, then which kind of soil is good for plant? Definitely the soil which will have clay, which will have sand too. That means soil which will contain clay as well as sand particle in equal amount. Yes, that kind of soil is also present. That third kind of soil is called loamy soil. Loamy soil contains clay particles as well as sand particles in equal amount. Along with these two kinds of particles, loamy soil contains air as well as water, microorganisms, and moreover it contains humus also. It means loamy soil is very good mixture of sand, clay, water, air, microorganisms and humus. That means most of the plants can be grown very nicely in loamy soil, and loamy soil is very good for plants. This is how we can say clay soil is good for making the pots and toys. Sandy soil is good. It is present at desert as well as seashores, but it is not good for the plant. Desert plants can be grown in sandy soil, but not most of the plants. Loamy soil ultimately is very good for growing the plants because it contains all the things in equal amount. So these three kinds of soil are present on the earth depending upon their contents, depending upon the sizes of their particles, their shapes of particles as well as color. They differ in colors too. Now moving towards our next topic of soil, we will discuss how soil is important for us, or what are the uses of soil, how soil is useful for us. Uses of soil. Now uses of soil for plants and animals. We all know plants they grow in soil. Plants they get their mineral and water from soil only. If soil is not there, plants cannot be grown. And plants cannot be grown, animals also cannot survive because most of the animals, or we can say all the animals, they are dependent on plants only for their needs, for their survival, whether directly or indirectly. So if soil is not there, plants cannot be grown. If plants cannot be grown, animals also cannot survive. It means soil is very useful for plants and animals both. That means on earth life exists because of the soil. As soil is there, plants are there, animals also can survive. It means it is very important for both, or all living beings or all living creatures. Now the second use of the soil is the home of many animals. Yes, it is fact. Many animals they make their home under the soil. I can give you a few examples. Rabbits, snakes, rats, earthworms, ants, termites, they make under the soil their home. Their homes are called burrows. They survive nicely and they make their home. This is why these animals they have uses of soil. Other than these, earthworms dig many tunnels inside the farms. Earthworm it keeps moving. When it keeps moving, it digs some tunnels. These tunnels are very airy. Because of these airy tunnels, it makes the farms and the soil of the farms airy. Because of these airy soil, farmers they can grow their crops, they can grow vegetables or whatever they want to grow in their crops very nicely because their soil becomes airy. Since earthworms they make the soil airy, they are called. Or in other words, I must say, as earthworms, they are helping the farmers by making their farms airy. Earthworms are called farmers' friend. Earthworms are actually farmers' friend because they are making their farms airy, and air is needed by the roots of the plant. So this is how we understood, children, you learned about the soil. Soil is very important for animals, plants and other things. This is how you learned in this chapter formation of soil, things soil contains, as well as kinds of soil. This is all about soil, children. Thank you.